Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. Humans had always approached problems with ingenuity, adaptability, and a surprising capacity for finding common ground in times of conflict. Throughout their history, they had warred, explored, built, and grown, often struggling to maintain peace in the face of stark differences. But when they found themselves among the stars, among other civilizations with equally complex histories and motivations, they brought with them a toolset that no other species had yet truly wielded: empathy. With this unique capacity, humans developed a vision for galactic diplomacy that would become the foundation of a truly transformative movement. The introduction of the empathy-based Galactic Council represented not merely an administrative structure but a radical shift in the very essence of interstellar interaction. This was not diplomacy rooted in coercion, resources, or brute military might. Instead, humans sought to pioneer a system of governance and communication built on the understanding of shared experience and shared goals. Empathy, the ability to place oneself in another's position, was the foundation of this vision, and it would reshape the way galactic civilizations perceived and resolved conflict. The idea itself began as a theoretical exploration within early diplomatic circles. Humans had always studied the social sciences and philosophy, delving into psychology, linguistics, and ethics. What they discovered was that most interstellar conflicts could be traced back to misunderstanding, miscommunication, or unacknowledged perspectives. Many alien societies, for all their advancements in technology, had focused on logic, utility, and their own internal goals. But humans discovered that the emotional motivations that drove beings were often as powerful as technological advancements themselves. The empathy-based Galactic Council thus sought to implement a system that would prioritize emotional intelligence, open dialogue, and cultural exchange as tools for maintaining peace and fostering understanding. Humans understood that diplomacy could no longer depend solely on treaties or military balances. It had to go deeper, connecting with the very essence of how different species thought, felt, and interacted with their environments. To implement this, the Council was built upon the principle that every voice, every perspective, and every culture mattered. Humans would act as mediators, introducing themselves as the first species to openly prioritize emotional understanding as a core diplomatic strategy. They knew this would be a monumental challenge. Empathy was a skill, not a universal language, and would require careful and thoughtful application as it crossed biological, psychological, and cultural boundaries. However, humans believed that this very uniqueness would allow them to bridge divides that other species might struggle to overcome. The first stages of creating the Council were experimental. Humans worked with a coalition of various interstellar species to demonstrate their approach. Their methods were unconventional, focusing less on formalized treaties and military deterrence and more on creating dialogue and shared cultural exchanges. These exchanges allowed members of other species to see one another in their full emotional contexts: joys, fears, ambitions, and histories. The Council would rely on storytelling, shared experiences, and cultural understanding to foster bridges where isolation and prejudice might have otherwise led to war. The successes came quickly. Empathy, as it turned out, was a universal concept even if it expressed itself differently among different species. Some species connected through music, others through art or shared history. Some understood emotion through shared rituals or ceremonies, while others used scientific analogies to explain perspectives. Humans facilitated these connections with their unique ability to learn quickly, adapt, and listen deeply. They drew on their history of diverse cultures, wars, peace treaties, and exploration to demonstrate that even the most fractured societies could find commonality if they approached one another with respect and understanding. Through this council, humanity became a sort of emotional translator, not just a military or scientific ally. They used empathy as both a method of communication and as a diplomatic principle, attempting to predict and mediate misunderstandings through the consideration of feelings as well as facts. The empathy-based council would allow negotiations to proceed without defaulting to threats or ultimatums. Instead, they worked through dialogue and emotional reflection, fostering trust and cooperation through shared perspectives. But the introduction of this idea was not without its challenges. Some civilizations rejected the very notion of empathy as an alien concept, viewing it as soft, ineffective, or impractical in the face of galactic competition and survival. Others believed that empathy was a distraction from the realities of scarcity, war, and technological advantage. Still, there were species who saw the empathy-based council as a threat to their traditional methods of negotiation and coercion. These civilizations had relied on power projection and superiority to maintain order, and they feared that humans' insistence on emotional connection would undermine their control. Humans met these challenges not with military might, but with patience, education, and dialogue. They believed that the path to peace was not about force, but about mutual understanding, and this belief drove their diplomatic methods. The council grew slowly, but its reputation began to spread as successes mounted. Disputes that might have escalated into wars were resolved through careful conversations, where participants could share their fears, their dreams, their histories, and their values. Humans showed that trust could be built even among the most alien of beings, that communication was possible even when the starting point seemed insurmountably different. The empathy-based Galactic Council was not just a system for resolving conflicts, but a cultural movement as well. It sought to teach not only other species, but also the idea of active emotional intelligence. It encouraged members of different civilizations to step back from their assumptions, to consider the perspectives of others, and to engage in shared experiences. These exchanges were not about forcing sameness or conformity, but about discovering the rich diversity of thought and history that each species brought to the galactic community. The stories shared within the council became the foundation for deeper understanding. Species with histories of oppression, colonization, or war could share their experiences, allowing others to listen without judgment or defensiveness. Species who had once feared one another could find empathy in shared feelings of isolation or ambition. Through this shared storytelling, individuals began to connect not just intellectually but emotionally, creating a network of shared experiences and mutual understanding. Some groups began to embrace their shared vulnerabilities and histories, healing old wounds through conversations rooted in listening and reflection. The Galactic Council began to shift from being a mere diplomatic body into a symbol of cooperation, compassion, and shared exploration. It was not merely a forum for negotiation, but a living, breathing representation of what could happen when beings chose to prioritize connection over conquest. This, in turn, inspired other groups and emerging civilizations to explore similar forms of interstellar dialogue. The Council expanded, introducing new methods of cultural exchange, teaching, and peace-building. Humans, meanwhile, continued to learn from their experiments with diplomacy. Their successes in emotional negotiation showed them that empathy was not simply an ideal but a strategic tool, one that could disarm prejudice, rebuild trust, and forge powerful alliances. They learned that even within the vastness of space, diversity could become strength, not a point of division, if approached with openness and understanding. With every new member of the Galactic Council, the vision expanded. The idea of empathy-based diplomacy became a guiding philosophy, influencing technology, exploration, and governance. Other species began to adopt the principles of active listening, shared storytelling, and peaceful negotiation. Empathy was not a replacement for strength or innovation, but a complementary force that could enhance every tool, every decision, and every interaction. It created a kind of balance that had never before existed among the stars. As the Council grew, it became clear that its influence extended beyond simple politics and war avoidance. Empathy became foundational in the way civilizations approached cultural exchange, education, and exploration. The idea that shared feelings could connect disparate individuals across biological divides reshaped interstellar exploration. Exploration became not just the search for resources, but the pursuit of understanding, the discovery of connections that transcended physical differences. The introduction of humans and their vision of empathy-based diplomacy redefined the concept of galactic governance itself. It transformed it from an abstract, technological competition into something more humane, something rooted in shared stories and mutual understanding. Through the introduction of empathy, humans showed that cooperation was not a matter of superiority, resources, or conquest, but the simple, powerful act of connection. The introduction of this council and its methods revealed to the stars that peace was not just a fragile, fleeting moment between wars, but something that could be built, piece by piece, through shared understanding. Humans would lead the way as the first diplomats to embrace emotional intelligence and empathy as strategies, not as weaknesses, but as strengths, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Through the empathy-based Galactic Council, humans created something more profound than a government, more enduring than a treaty. They built a new foundation for interstellar coexistence, one that began with listening, understanding, and compassion, and promised a future defined by mutual respect and shared exploration.